Welcome back to Bespoke Addict. I just want to show a little bit of progress on these fabulous Peal Co. But I mentioned in a previous video, the colour is truly ghastly. I can't live with that. And as you can see, I'm starting to strip this one. I'll just give you a quick look at the original. I did make a previous video a few days ago, and they really are not a nice colour. If they're a sort of a dark, or what would you call it, a dark tan or a very light brown. But there's just no, it could be made, here's the original look without any faffing about that. It's got nothing other than what the maker put on, which is acceptable. But, it's got this awful, awful coating, and you can scratch it off with the fingernail. I believe what it is that wretched stuff that people used in the 70s and the 80s. It was no polish, like instant. It was like a tube of liquid. It had a sponge on the end, and you rub the sponge, and it went on wet. And then you just sat there and let them dry, and they dry with a bit of a shine. You didn't have to polish it, but it's vile. And I believe that's what's on these. But I'm not going to live with it. I'm actually stripping it away. This looks a bit weird. I've been stripping it. Let me just reach behind me. Isopropyl alcohol. Just using the alcohol straight on a pad of cotton wool, and just rubbing, turns up on the cotton wool, throw away, keep going. I've got through at least half a packet of cotton wool. In the dye and first of all, the polish comes off, and then the original dye is drawn to the surface and it ends up on the pad. And if I keep going, I'll get 100% of the original colour out. This has still got some colour in it, and you can see all around here, so there's quite a lot. This has taken probably an hour in 2 or 3 sort of sessions to get to this stage, because of course when you're working with the alcohol, the leather's wet and these pale areas are very, very dark, so you can't tell. The whole thing just looks dark. This, and you can't tell where the colour's left behind. So you have to wait for it to dry. And I think, right. So you come back to it and you redo the darker areas, and then redo the whole shoe, and then wait again. And eventually, I'll get all of colour out, and then I'll have a choice what colour to go for. In a previous video, I said I was going to go for something like this. These are amazing. 1968 George Cleverly, and that colour is just superb. And I said I'd go for something similar to that. Then I thought, well, wait a minute. It doesn't matter how hard I try on these. They're lovely, Peal Co, but they're not as nice as the George Cleverly. And the colour won't be as nice. This is an original patina. They were originally quite pale, and they've sort of darkened with time and age. What I will achieve on that will be a replica. So what's the point in trying to copy that? And then I'll have 2 shoes which are similar, but these are nicer. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I'm selling the John Lobb. I love the John Lobb, but they're just simply too huge on me. I can't really wear them successfully, but I do really like the colour. And they're going to be out of my wardrobe. So if I can get these light enough, which I know that I can then colour this pair to replace the John Lobb, which are going. And then I'll have the George Cleverly in that colour anyway. I just wasn't thinking clearly when I came to camera and said I was going to replicate this colour. Why? I've already got that colour, and then I'm going to be losing that colour. I do have another pair in this colour made by Daniel Wiegand. Very, very early pair, whilst he was still an apprentice. They're absolutely amazing things. And they're a whole cut with a tiny Norwegian welt. They're in this colour, but the whole cut and they're completely undecorated. Amazing things. They are in that colour, but they're not decorated, So if I have this colour with all the brogling decoration, it'll look fantastic, but it's going to take time. Let me just put these down. It's going to take at least another hour to get the rest of this sort of old original colour out. And there's a repair to do on the heel. I'll unpick the stitching, fold the lining back, patch with chamois direct onto the outer skins. I'll pull the chamois outwards and put the lining back in and restitch it, and then trim the chamois off. It'll be a brilliant repair. You'll not know it's there. It'll be completely hidden. You will not see it. It's a long job. It would take me at least a couple of hours per shoe, but it'll be worth doing. I've done that so many times. This does look horrendous and it's fragile. So I'll strengthen the whole edge, but it'll be completely 100% hidden. You'll not know the repairs there. So These are fabulous things, and we are probably looking 2.5, 3 hours per shoe to strip the colour away over a period of at least a couple of weeks, just to get the colour out, and then do that repair. Then I've got to start moisturising the skins because they are a bit dehydrated because of the age, and see, by putting ghastly polish on top of ghastly polish, it doesn't allow anything to touch the skin underneath, so no moisturizer gets to the skins. So these skins, even though they're from about 1960, are pretty much unmoisturized. They are fragile. But getting to the stage where there's nothing on them, you can feed them and feed them and feed them. It will take a couple of weeks. It won't be routine like I did on this pair yesterday. Just a quick sort of lick with cream and then buff. This will take application after application over day after day, and eventually the skins will come back to an acceptable level of saturation, and then just finally polish them. There's a lot of work, but these are just amazing things. Bespoke, Peal Co. They look wretched like this, and they look even more wretched in that colour. But they're just glorious shoes, and they are going to come up beautifully. But yeah, a lot of hours of work. Very few shoes are sort of worth. They're just not worth that kind of effort. They have to be of this sort of quality or this. This pair, lovely though they are, they're Foster and Son. They're ready to wear, and they're nice, but they're just not. And the George Cleverly here, these are ready to wear, and these are ready to wear. They're all lovely, and they look very similar, but the value is just not there. You can't justify it on a ready-to-wear shoe. But on a bespoke shoe, you can justify the level of attention I'm going to be putting into these. So I don't know. It's just one of the. Yeah, I do have to be very strict on what I repair and what I restore. Like I say to you, these do look very, very similar stylistically. Of course, the colours are totally different, and that one looks as good as that, and it is brilliant. But that's a handmade, handmade bespoke, and this is machine made. It's been, it's lovely. It's all, very high English standard, but they were made by Crockett and Jones for Foster and Son. But these are handmade bespoke, and there's just an enormous difference. But the finished product, it looks to the uninitiated so similar, quite frankly. But there's just a massive difference in the value. I don't mind spending that sort of time on full bespoke like this. I have made the mistake on ready-to-wear pairs in the past, and it's just silly spending weeks, if not months, on ready-to-wear pairs. And when you can buy these, realistically, I'm going to be selling these. I've not completely decided on the price, but it'll be in the £100 range. The John Lobs will be considerably more, but they're not going to be thousands. There will be a few hundred. If you had a ready-to-wear pair that was scruffy and you're trying to restore them and get them to this lovely condition, and that's not been polished yet, that has no polish on it. Even in that condition, they're sort of about the £100 mark. So restoring shoes and spending hours and hours and hours, it's not really a money spinner. I don't do it. I'm asked all the time, but it's so many hours involved to some product at the end of it that is quite frankly worth very little. Even these, amazing though they are, they're only going to be worth, I don't know, about the 400 mark. Commissions new, there'd be 7,000 or 8,000 from John Lobb, but secondhand in amazing condition like this, about the 400 realistic. In sort of scruffy condition, about 175. But then you've got to put all the time in and bring them up looking. But hey, I'm rambling now. I'm going to stop. All I wanted to show you, quite honestly, was the progress on this pair of Peal Co. But these will take about another 3 or 4 weeks to strip all of the polish and the colour.